Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40k universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about homebrewed Space Marine chapters as we get into the Blood Jaguars. Now just like the Angry Marines, this was found on 4chan. The article is amazing and it has exclusive rules if you want to play the Blood Jaguars because the Blood Jaguars have their own special units. So jump on over there. The link is in the description like I said. And if you guys have any suggestions for any Space Marine chapters or anything about Warhammer 40k that you guys would like us to create a video for, please comment that down below. Don't forget to put suggestion followed by whatever topic you guys want us to create a video about. And don't forget to subscribe because we put out new lore videos every single day. Let's get into 40 facts about the Blood Jaguars. The Blood Jaguars are a chapter with a history of extreme violence, even for most Astartes. Founded in the 34th millennium for the specific purpose of fighting orcs, specifically the threat imposed on the Otstalan sector by the orcs of the Green Traverse, and parented by the infamous Flesh Terrors. They, like their predecessors, suffer from the Black Rage at a higher rate than other Blood Angel successor chapters. An attempt to correct this was made in their founding, but failed to prevent the Red Thirst and Black Rage from occurring at the same level. In fact, it may have made the Red Thirst even worse, if certain rumors hold true. At some point in time, the Blood Jaguars' home sector was swallowed up by a warp storm that lasted 2,000 years. During this time, Chipetotlek rose to the position of chapter master and enacted major reforms, earning him much respect in the chapter. After the warp storm ended, the Blood Jaguars emerged entirely divergent from the Codex. Gone were the Devastator squads, and in came chain-bladed bolters, scout squads ripping orcs apart in a frenzied close combat, and a death company whose acts of terror often inspired suicide in their enemies. Suspected of worshipping corn on multiple occasions, though never found tainted, the Blood Jaguars have a rocky relationship with the rest of the Adeptus Astartes and Inquisition. Despite this, the chapter still sends brothers to the Death Watch, though the eye of suspicion never leaves them. The Blood Jaguars' homeworld, Tenochtitlan, is a jungle hive world, notorious for its massive feline predators and large avian carnivores. Recruits are trained in the harsh jungle, expected to fight and kill predators with little more than stone knives they craft themselves, and carry with them for the rest of their time they're in the chapter. Harsh survival and combat trials are favored over years of disciplined apprenticeship to ensure that every Blood Jaguar will be able to adapt if separated from a group, as often happens in the dense jungles of Tenochtitlan. A strong emphasis on self-sufficiency, coupled with relentless drills, forms an instinctive awareness of battlefield movements, momentum, and finding weakness in the enemies. Indeed, particularly zealous Jaguars sometimes sacrifice themselves in displays of individual courage and bloodthirst, in order to sow terror into the hearts of their opponent, creating a panic and disorder where there previously were none. Unlike the majority of Space Marines, Blood Jaguars truly believe in the God Emperor, worshipping him in their own strange way as the Sun Emperor. He is the light that guides, the light that protects, and they raise up blood-stained hands clutching hearts in his name. Though their path of worship is pagan in nature, the ecclesiarchy sees this form of worship as yet another demonstration of worship to the God Emperor. The Blood Jaguars' battle cry is "Sacrifice brings salvation." Their power armor is black and orange with gold trims, and their chapter's sigil is a jaguar head with a blood drop for a tongue on a golden sun. Those who wish to become Blood Jaguars seek out such a thing on their own. They set out into the jungles that cover much of the planet, and must locate one of the dozens of stone pyramids that tell of the chapter's exploits, which must be done in a process known as the climb to the sun. Those that complete the climb are then approached by the Blood Jaguars, who send them through a series of trials designed to test their faith, willpower, and physical fortitude. Called the Dark Road Under the Sun, these trials are grueling. Many of the aspirants die. Others have their faith found wanting and are sent to the sacrificial altar. Those that endure are allowed to join the ranks of the Blood Jaguars as full battle brothers. Apothecaries are modified sanguinarian priests, giving the blood of Sanguinius to neophytes through a bloodletting ritual instead of drinking. They favor obscuring mass and spend much time amongst themselves, their own little covenant of priests. Librarians also take on a religious role, leading many major services dedicated to the Sun Emperor. They decorate armor in midnight blue with solar designs, and are the most pious. Most of the Blood Jaguars respect them as some of the most important amongst their ranks. The Tsenson Tlalok are the Blood Jaguars' equivalent of the Sanguinary Guard found in other Blood Angel successor chapters. They alone are allowed to wear the limited numbers of Terminator armor the chapter has. The Blood Jaguars maintain very few serfs, as the bulk of their failed aspirants either die during the Dark Road under the sun or are sacrificed, some even offering themselves in an attempt to make up for their previous sins. Their tech marines are also not terribly well provised and are very few in number. Most of the chapter's weapons are heavily modified and very old. Many in the Mechanicus do not approve, and do not take many of the Battle Brothers to Mars for training. Tenochtitlan, homeworld of the Blood Jaguars, is a hive world, unlike virtually any other, for instead of population-choked wastelands, the landscape of the planet is primordial jungle. Tendrils of creepers and dense forests reach right up to the very walls around most hives of Tenochtitlan, except for the planetary capital of Tenochtitlan, which is situated at the center of the vast lake. Tenochtitlan Hive is separated into 4 sections, the Spire of the Star being the primary spaceport, the Spire of the Sun being dedicated to the ecclesiarchy, the Spire of Offerings housing the planetary governor and administratum, and the Spire of Earth is where workers live. The Hive of Tenochtitlan are much more pyramidal than most imperial hives, which seem to have its roots in the cultural practice of the native people in the Age of Strife. Tenochtitlan's unusual verdant geography owes its survival to 2 factors. The first is the highly oxygenized atmosphere, around 38% as opposed to the more typical 21% on colonized worlds. This would be little consequence if not for the second factor, which is a unique fungus, Mortum sacco, that grows around the roots of most trees on Tenochtitlan. This fungus looks unremarkable at first, except for the bulbous sac-like growth that characterizes it, but it is how it produces these tubers that make it invaluable. The fungus actively absorbs heavy metals and harmful chemicals from the soil and air, storing them in the growth it produces. When full, the sealed bulbs drop off and, protected by a tough shell, remain safely isolated for decades. The fungus does this for 2 reasons. The first is simply survival. By removing these harmful substances from the soil, the trees the fungus needs to grow on are more likely to survive and reach new heights. The other is the storage of these materials is simply a byproduct of the fungus taking in nutrition for itself. The Imperium naturally has seen the value of Mortum sacco, and several unsuccessful attempts have been made to transplant the fungus to the many imperial worlds choked by pollution. Unfortunately, Mortum sacco requires a high level of atmospheric oxygen to survive, and on all the worlds it has been taken to thus far is failed to hold. For the inhabitants of Tenochtitlan, the fungus is considered a blessing from the Sun Emperor, and the bulbs are regularly collected from accessible regions of jungle and brought to the hives, where they are crushed and the industrial useful substances within them are extracted. Collection of the bulbs can be highly profitable. One constorium has raised to the status of the nobility solely through harvesting. Tenochtitlan has many unusual species of flora and fauna, from the jeweled rotor bird to the mighty Onyaguara. The Onyaguara is a solitary, opportunistic, stalking, and ambush predator at the top of the Tenochtitlan food chain, the animal most commonly associated with the Blood Jaguars. A compact and well-muscled animal, well adapted to the jungles, the Onyaguara is an opportunistic hunter, and its diet encompasses at least 87 species, including unfortunate aspirants who happen to be too close to the hungry Onyaguara. An aspirant who succeeds in escaping one is seen as marked by the Sun Emperor for great things. The Onyaguara has long been a symbol of power and strength to the nobles of Tenochtitlan. The Fortress Monastery of the Blood Jaguar sits atop the ruined hive city of Chelok, deep in the untamed jungles of Tenochtitlan. Formerly the hive governor's palace, the monastery is known by its local name of Tehuantepec. which loosely translates in Low Gothic as the Hill of the Wild Animals. Another translation, however, is the Hill of Demons, and given the history of the Hive, this is quite fitting. The palace is situated on the site of the Blood Jaguar's greatest victory, the defeat of the demon incursion led by the demon prince of Khorne, Cortez. In the ruins of the governor's mansion, the titanic warp spawn fought in a single combat with Totlek, chapter master of the Blood Jaguars, while his battle brothers engaged the demon forces. Cornered with no lines of retreat, every Blood Jaguar fought with unbridled ferociousness, but it was Totlek who showed the greatest savagery. Though the chapter master's skin was flayed from his body, he pressed on, and in one final move drove his barbed power fist deep into the demon's chest and pulled out its still beating heart. With the death of their general, the warp storm shuddered, and the remaining demons fled into the immaterium, leaving the Blood Jaguar standing amidst utter destruction. Their master finally collapsed from his wounds, but it was interned in the holy sarcophagus of a dreadnought, where he still resides. At the center of the monastery sits the chapter's most prized relic, the heart of Cortez, still held firm by the gauntlet that plucked it from the demon's body. A stasis field prevents the heart from being reclaimed by the warp, and it is said that if ever it beats once more, Cortez has been reborn, and the chapter will stop at nothing to hunt down and destroy the beast again. On the walls that once held paintings and priceless trinkets, stone carvings tell the story of Totlek's duel and the Battle of the Hive, along with the history of the chapter. Where once the Lord's throne sat, a great altar has been erected, and it is here that the heretics and demons are sacrificed to the Sun Emperor. Every year, many youths travel to attempt to climb the Pyramid of the Gods, to be chosen to become a Blood Jaguar. Both boys and girls set off, but only boys arrive at the pyramid for the rite of ascension. Stories and rumors spread from hive to hive, talking about horrific monsters that prey on those who travel in the thick jungles, or of the women being chosen by Blood Jaguars as their brides. The truth of the matter is well kept secret. On the far side of the planet, from the Blood Jaguars' Fortress Monastery, lies a small covenant of the Adeptus Sororitas, located on an island in the middle of a colossal river. They are members of the Order of the Martyred Heart, an offshoot of the Order of the Valorous Heart. The sisters track down each girl attempting to do what none has done before, and seize them, taking them back to their covenant, where they are raised and trained in the lessons of the Martyred Heart. The Martyred Heart and the Blood Jaguars are allies, and it is unknown if the Martyred Hearts provide the artillery support for the Jaguars in battle. The Martyred Heart are also unique in having small stockpiles of the incredibly rare Voltaic weapons, dating back to the Great Crusade itself. These weapons are seen as symbols of the Sun Emperor's divine judgment, and are both weapons and holy relics to the sisters. And those were 40 facts about the Blood Jaguars. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, we're not done. We're never done with any of these videos. There's going to be a Blood Jaguars Part 2, and we're going to go over some notable campaigns that occurred for the Blood Jaguars, and then some notable characters of the Blood Jaguars. Comment down below if you're an actual collector of the Blood Jaguars. They are an amazing chapter. I love the history and how it ties to the Aztecs and the Mayan culture. So kudos for whoever created that. And don't forget to visit the link in the description below to get more information. If you guys want to collect and play these awesome Space Marines. If you guys have any more suggestions for Space Marine topics or any Warhammer 40k topics, please comment down below. And if you can, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. By you guys liking this video, it is an offering to the Sun Emperor. So you don't have to sacrifice anybody. You don't have to take anybody's beating heart out. You simply have to like this video, and it helps out. With that said, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.